Do you know what to do if a police car rides behind you for 2 miles with the lights on and you feel unsafe stopping in the dark? You have only a few seconds to show you are not running and not giving away your rights. Handle it wrong, and a basic stop can turn into a search, a long delay, or a story on body cam that makes you look guilty. Hit subscribe right now because what I'm about to show you could keep you safe when your brain wants to panic. Smash like so you can find this video fast when those lights are in your mirror and your heart is pounding. If you stay with me, you're going to learn 4 things that can change this whole situation. First, what to do the second you think the stop may be unsafe or the car may be unmarked. Second, the exact question that helps shut down a fishing trip after the traffic part is done. Third, the one sentence that can block you from handing over a free search. Fourth, what to do if the officer tells you to step out anyway. Let me show you exactly how smart drivers stay calm without looking sneaky. I've analyzed over 200 body cam videos, and the same mistakes happen again and again. Most people have no idea how fast a normal stop can become an investigation. You do not need to win an argument on the roadside. You need to protect yourself, stay safe, and avoid helping build a case against your own body, car, or phone. Now let's talk about why this matters so much. When a cop follows you that long, your mind starts racing. You wonder if it's a real cop. You wonder if pulling over right there is safe. You wonder if waiting even a little will make them think you're fleeing. That panic is where people mess up. They speed up, they grab around the car, they hop out too early, they start over-explaining, or they say yes to things they never had to say yes to. Here's the reality. The stop is already stressful for you and the officer, but stress is exactly when your mouth can hurt you. The goal is simple. Show clear cooperation, make smart safety moves, and do not volunteer more than you must. If you remember that, you already beat most drivers. The first thing you do is signal that you are complying while moving to a safer place. This is the move almost nobody gets right. If the area is dark, empty, narrow, or feels wrong, do not slam your brakes in a dangerous spot, and do not floor it either. You turn on your hazard lights right away. You slow down. You keep your speed under control. You keep driving to the nearest well-lit public place like a gas station, parking lot, police station, or busy store. If you think the vehicle may be unmarked, you call 911 while you do it. Here's exactly what you say. A police vehicle is behind me. My hazard lights are on. I am slowing down and going to the nearest well-lit public place. Please stay on the line and confirm the officer. Word for word. Memorize that line. Why does this work? Because your actions tell a clear story. You are not trying to escape. You are trying to stop safely. Official driver guides and police safety pages in places like Texas, Rhode Island, Oklahoma City, King County, and Sterling all give versions of this same advice. They tell drivers to pull over safely, use hazards, slow down, and if needed, go to a well-lit or populated area. Some even say call 911 to verify the stop. Former police officers have confirmed this works because it lowers the chance of confusion. Your hazards say, "I see you." Your slower speed says, "I am cooperating." Your move to a public area says, "I want safety, not a chase." Bad way. Most drivers say, "Why are you following me?" Then they keep normal speed with no hazards, make random turns, and look like they are trying to shake the stop. Good way. Smart drivers say, "My hazards are on, I am pulling over in a safe public place." Then the whole thing looks controlled, calm, and reasonable. Watch what happens when you make the officer guess your intent. Tension shoots up. Backup may come flying in. The officer may walk up already thinking you are hiding something. But watch what happens when your hazards go on right away and you stop in a bright public place. The stop starts with less fear and less drama. That matters more than you think. Now let me be clear about something. 2 miles is not a magic number. It does not mean you can ignore flashing lights for as long as you want. You cannot use this as an excuse to run. You are not trying to create distance. You are trying to create safety. That is a huge difference. If you use hazards, slow down, and clearly head to the nearest safe spot, you are telling the story before anyone speaks. In places that allow it, this is 100% legal. And even where rules vary, it is still the smartest way to show you are not trying to flee while you protect yourself in a bad location. If you've ever felt nervous about stopping on a dark road, drop a comment below and tell me if you would remember the hazard lights move. The second tactic starts after the officer reaches your window. Your job here is to keep the stop from growing legs. You give the basic documents you are legally required to give. You keep your hands visible. You tell the officer before you reach for anything. And once the traffic reason is handled, you ask one short question that can stop the slow drift into a fishing trip. Here's exactly what you say. "Officer, if the traffic stop is finished, am I free to leave?" That is the line. Short, calm, respectful, powerful. Here's the trick they don't want you knowing. A lot of roadside investigations happen after the original reason for the stop is basically over. The officer gave the warning, the ticket is done, your documents are back, but then the questions keep going. Where are you coming from? Where are you headed? Is there anything illegal in the car? Mind if I take a look? That extra time is where cases get built. This comes straight from Supreme Court rulings. In Rodriguez versus United States, the court said police cannot stretch a traffic stop longer than needed just to go do unrelated investigation work unless they have separate reason to suspect crime. That means time matters. Here's the reality. If you just stand there chatting, you make it easier for the stop to keep going. If you ask the clean question, you force the moment into the open. Either the officer says yes and you leave, or the officer keeps detaining you, and now there is a clearer record that the stop got extended. Defense attorneys use this exact line in court because it helps show where the traffic mission ended and the extra detention began. Bad way. Most drivers say, I'm just heading home from my cousin's place after grabbing food, but I also stopped at the store and I'm tired. Then the officer hears nervous rambling and gets 5 new things to probe. Good way. Smart drivers say, Officer, if the traffic stop is finished, am I free to leave? Then the stop gets pushed back to one clear issue. This does not mean be rude. It does not mean yank your keys and drive off. It means you stay still, keep your voice level, and ask one focused question. If the officer says no, do not argue. Just stay calm and keep your words tight. If the officer says yes, leave quietly. Legal experts agree this is your strongest protection when the stop is drifting past the reason it started. And if the officer keeps asking casual questions before that moment, you do not need to fill the silence with your life story. You can be polite and brief. Your tone matters, your volume matters, your body language matters, but your extra words matter most. Short answers keep the stop small, long answers feed it. That one question helps you know where you stand. The third tactic may be the biggest one of all. If the officer asks to search your car, you do not debate. You do not explain. You do not say, I guess so. You do not say, I have nothing to hide. You do not laugh it off. You do not shrug. You say one clean sentence. Here's exactly what you say. Officer, I do not consent to any searches. Those exact 8 words. Say them calmly. Say them once. If asked again, repeat them the same way. Listen closely because this is critical. Consent is where many drivers lose the fight before it even starts. If you say yes, you can hand over rights you did not have to hand over. And once that search happens, you cannot rewind the moment by saying you felt nervous later. That is why this line matters so much. The law has long treated consent as a major exception to the warrant rule. In plain English, if you agree, the officer may not need a warrant at all. That is the basic lesson from Schneckloth versus Bustamonte. Your yes has power, so does your no. Now be smart here. Refusing consent does not mean the officer will always stop. If the officer already has legal cause, the search may happen anyway. Do not resist. Do not block the door. Do not pull away. Your move is verbal, not physical. You make your record and you stay safe. That record can matter later if the search gets challenged. Bad way. Most drivers say, go ahead, I've got nothing to hide. Then they hand over control and lose the chance to challenge a consent search. Good way. Smart drivers say, Officer, I do not consent to any searches. Then the officer has to rely on real legal grounds, not your fear. Saying no to consent is not rude. This is 100% legal. Texas driver guidance even says you may grant or deny a request to search, while also warning that officers may still search if they already have probable cause. That is the key point. You are not stopping a lawful search by magic. You are refusing to volunteer one. That can be the difference between helping an officer fish and forcing the law to do its job. Watch what happens when drivers talk too much after refusing consent. They start adding weird lines like, you can check the trunk, just not the bag, or there's nothing in there except my friend's stuff, or I mean not since last week. That is how panic turns into evidence. Say the line, then stop talking. Former police officers have confirmed this works because the clean refusal is harder to twist than a messy explanation. If you're still here, you're already ahead of most drivers. Drop a comment saying, I'm still here, because the next move is what saves you when the officer orders you out anyway. Now let's talk about the moment people get wrong because movies train them badly. If the officer orders you out of the car, you comply. You do not argue that you know your rights. You do not lock your legs in place. You do not make the officer pull you out. Here's exactly what you say. I will comply. I do not consent to searches, and I choose to remain silent. Keep it simple. Then step out slowly. Keep your hands visible. Follow physical instructions. Do not volunteer extra words. Why comply here? Because on this point, the law is not on your side. In Pennsylvania versus Mimms, the Supreme Court said an officer can order a driver out during a lawful traffic stop for safety reasons. So do not waste your fight on the wrong hill. Save your protection for your words, not your body. You can comply and still refuse consent. You can comply and still stay silent. You can comply and still avoid helping build a case. Bad way. Most drivers say, you can't make me get out. Then the stop gets hotter, louder, and more physical for no good reason. Good way. Smart drivers say, I will comply. I do not consent to searches and I choose to remain silent. Then they protect themselves without looking combative. This is where calm wins. The officer may ask more questions while you are outside. Where are you going? Whose car is this? What's in your pockets? Have you been drinking? If you must identify yourself or hand over required documents, do that. But outside of required basics, you do not need to chat your way into trouble. Short, polite, controlled. I've analyzed over 200 body cam videos, and the people who talk the least often give the state the least to work with later. And here is something else you need to remember. If you are reaching for a wallet, registration, or insurance card, say it before you move. My wallet is in my right pocket. My registration is in the glove box. That little sentence can lower tension fast. Cops are trained to watch hands. Sudden digging looks bad even if you mean nothing by it. Clear words make your movements less scary. So now you have the 4 big moves. Signal compliance and go to a safe public place. Ask if you are free to leave when the traffic part is done. Refuse consent clearly. Comply physically if ordered out, but keep your words controlled. Let me show you exactly why those 4 work together. They each solve a different problem. The first protects your safety. The second protects your time. The third protects your car. The fourth protects your body from turning a legal issue into a physical one. And yes, this all connects back to real cases. Rodriguez versus United States says police cannot drag out a traffic stop just to do unrelated investigation work unless they have fresh reason. In normal words, they cannot keep you there forever just because they feel curious. Schneckloth versus Bustamonte shows why consent matters so much. In normal words, your yes can unlock a search that would have been harder otherwise. Pennsylvania versus Mimms says officers can order you out during a lawful stop. In normal words, you do not win by refusing that command on the roadside. You win by staying calm, refusing consent, and not giving extra statements away. This comes straight from Supreme Court rulings. Picture the full scene. You are driving home late. A vehicle lights you up on a dark road. The bad version starts with panic. You keep driving with no hazards. You call your friend instead of 911. You whip into a side street with no lights. The officer walks up already tense. You blurt out, "I didn't do anything. I'm just tired. I was at my boy's place. There's nothing in the car." Then when asked to search, you say, "Sure, go ahead." A 5-minute stop turns into a 30-minute mess. Now picture the good version. The lights come on behind you. You turn on your hazards right away. You slow down. You head to the nearest bright gas station. You call 911 and say, "A police vehicle is behind me. My hazard lights are on. I am slowing down and going to the nearest well-lit public place. Please stay on the line and confirm the officer." You stop. Window down enough to talk. Hands visible. You tell the officer before reaching. You give the required documents. You do not tell long stories. If the traffic matter looks done, you ask, "Officer, if the traffic stop is finished, am I free to leave?" If the officer asks to search, you say, "Officer, I do not consent to any searches." If told to step out, you say, "I will comply. I do not consent to searches and I choose to remain silent." Same stop. Totally different outcome. One path creates suspicion and free evidence. The other path creates a clean record and fewer openings. Next week, I'm dropping the video on what to say when cops claim they smell weed. Subscribe right now because that excuse gets used to push searches every single day, and you need the exact words before it happens to you. So lock this in, hazard lights on, slow down, and move to the nearest safe public place if the stop location feels dangerous or the vehicle may be unmarked. Ask if you are free to leave once the traffic reason is done so the stop does not quietly grow into an investigation. Refuse consent with one clean sentence and do not talk your way past your own protection. If ordered out, comply physically, but keep your mouth tight and your rights intact. Legal experts agree this is your strongest protection because it keeps you safe without helping build the case against you. Hit subscribe so you catch that weed smell video before you need it. Smash like if this changed how you would handle a stop tonight. Drop a comment telling me which line you're going to memorize first. Stay safe out there.